I'm Nikesh Patel. I'm an actuary by training, and I'm a trustee for pension funds in the UK. And this is my story. I suppose my first feeling of being a fish out of water is joining the investment industry, joining some clients for lunch, and being handed a wine list and not having a clue because I'd never ordered wine before. I'd never actually had red wine or white wine. I had somewhat simpler tastes. And that felt very weird. I got through it, I muddled through, I picked something reasonably expensive and sort of had to nod along when they were discussing the wine. But it sort of underlined to me that there were several parts of being in the city that I really wasn't aware of, that I wasn't comfortable with, and that I had to adapt to in order to be what clients expected me to be, and to join in with colleagues who were just much more comfortable at all of this. And colleagues by no means made it difficult. It was just a different background. Another example is that a lot of my colleagues in every place that I've worked love to ski. Skiing was not something that was an option for me growing up. It wasn't something that had ever been an option. And so the idea of joining a ski trip was a great idea, and it was lovely to be invited, but it just felt so daunting because I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea the terms that people were using. And again, I felt like I was out of place. Over time, I kind of realized that, like with the wine, the easiest thing to do was to play along until I caught up, until I realized what those terms meant and could fit in a bit more. And adapting was easier than I thought it would be, but it was still quite jarring, having almost two personalities, the one that I had at home, the one that I'd grown up with, the one that my family knew, and this other one that I had sort of created in order to be the person that I was expected to be professionally. And that second personality has effectively become my core personality. It's merged into who I am. And I don't begrudge it, but it isn't who I started off as. You might see it as I've grown into that role, but I kind of see it as I grew into it only because I had to, because I thought I had to. I thought that was what was needed in order to succeed. More recently, and I really mean quite recently, I realized that I didn't need to do that. It helped get me where I am today, but wouldn't it have been great if I hadn't needed to adapt, if I hadn't needed to change or have that persona in order to succeed, or for myself to be seen to be succeeding? And that's really the message I want to leave, that I had a journey which has ended up in a place that I'm quite happy with where I am. I'm really happy with that journey. But that journey in hindsight didn't have to be quite so difficult, didn't have to be quite so uncomfortable. And for the next generation of people entering the city, I would wish that they could skip that second step, skip that step of having to meet the expectations or perceived expectations of the city, and be themselves and still succeed, still get to the top of the tree, still get to the top of their careers with, being themselves.